Hello and welcome to the Fourth Estate, where we tackle all issues journalism as well as media. I'm Ibn Mabunda. We're coming to you from Zimbabwe's capital, Harare. Now, in today's episode, we aim to educate and create awareness on road traffic safety as we approach the festive season. The festive season or holiday is often characterized by merrymaking, and this usually translates to an increase in road accidents. Zimbabwe has recently witnessed a surge in road traffic violations any time of the year, but this tends to peak during the December holidays as more people travel across the length and the breadth of Zimbabwe. What are the major causes of road traffic accidents? How can they be avoided? And what is the role of the media in the fight to reduce road traffic accidents? To help us unpack these issues today, I will be joined by Muneso Munodawafa, Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe Managing Director. Now, the Fourth Estate will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Fourth Estate. I'm Ibn Mabunda. Now, today we are looking at road traffic safety, of course, ahead of the festive season. And to discuss that, I'm joined by Muneso Munodawafa, the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe Managing Director. Hello, sir, and welcome to the Fourth Estate.
Thank you so much, Ibn, and thank you for inviting us.
Fantastic. To get the ball rolling, the media in all its various formats plays a crucial role, of course, in the different aspects of life, as it were. Now, I want us to talk about the relationship between the role of the media as well as also the efforts of the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe.
Thank you very much for inviting us. And I must say, this is very timely ahead of the festive season, as you say. Perhaps for us to get into the issue, let's start by throwing in some statistics so that our discussion is in broader context or correct context. On average, in Zimbabwe, about 5 people die on a daily basis through road crashes, and about 38 people are injured. A 2019 study done by the UN on the road safety in Zimbabwe indicated that the cost to the economy is about 406 million US dollars per year that we lose through road crashes. So with that background, where you look at about over 150 people dying every single month, I think you realize that it's a very big issue, and herein comes the media, and I think that's where we want to go and talk about. Because what happens is these people are dying on a daily basis. But as far as perhaps we don't realize as Zimbabweans how big and how dire this situation is, maybe it's because they are dying in various parts of the country. If it was people in one village and you realize that 150 people, which is practically the whole village, has passed on in a month, maybe people would panic. But now we don't seem to realize it. So I think the media has a critical role insofar as raising awareness is concerned.
I've seen various campaigns by the Traffic Council on road safety. Do you have any collaborations or engagements with various media in the country to promote awareness on road safety as well? Do you think the media in Zimbabwe is fully equipped and capacitated to report and create awareness on road traffic safety?
I think that's a critical question that you ask. And again, let's put it in context. In terms of road safety awareness, I have to admit that we have not perhaps done enough as Traffic Safety Council to get the media to be with us. But what we have done is that we are now running the Journalist Awards, which is basically an event where we recognize, appreciate, acknowledge, and celebrate journalists who would have done much in terms of reporting issues to do with road safety throughout the year. So just this year, I think it was around August, July, thereabout, we had a workshop where we invited various media. And we said, let's set up some criteria on the basis of which we will be able to say this particular journalist from various types of media did well in terms of conscientizing the people. So yes, we have had that first endeavor, but I still believe that a lot more can still be done with us working closer to the journalists. And here is where we are also coming from. What we have tended to witness is that the reports you get on road safety usually center around an accident that has happened. So many people have passed on. May their souls rest in peace. But in most cases, I think perhaps this is where we should have come in as traffic safety, in further engagements with the media. Because our view is that beyond the numbers, perhaps we now need to go to the stage where journalism or the journalists begin to question and say, this is not the first time this stretch of the road has had an accident. Why is there prevalence of accidents on this particular area? Perhaps it could be the infrastructure itself in some cases, but also going beyond and saying what has happened, what happens to families of those people, perhaps breadwinners who may have lost their lives in road crashes. If we take the media to that level, perhaps even the policy response may be faster than people expect, because 150 people dying in a country through one cause, to me, is a cause for concern.
Very, very concerning when you put it across that way. Now, we are, of course, in a sphere that's been defined by a lot of digital technologies. And, of course, a part of that is the advent of social media. And it has transformed the way that we engage and communicate on a daily basis. Now, question is this. As the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe, how strong and robust is your digital foray? And how far have you gone in terms of reaching out to the masses, to the populace through these platforms in terms of how they need to be courteous drivers, how they need to, observe some of the basic road rules that we've got in the country? And do you think that the media in Zimbabwe has done enough to make use of these platforms to articulate the message to the populace?
Thank you. Well, you know, when I tackle my style in management and leadership, I usually want to start with those things that I'm in control with. And I must say, perhaps in terms of our own media reach as Traffic Safety Council, there is room for us to improve. There is scope for us to improve. Yes, we're on various platforms, but it's an area that we are pushing. It's an area that we have been working on even as late as now. And I think you'll see more of us on the social media space. But in terms also of reaching out to various media houses, look, I have to acknowledge that whatever publicity that has gone around road safety has been because of various media. And I want to thank and acknowledge that effort because we are raising awareness. But I also want to appeal to the same media houses and say, we are not in the commercial space. So when we approach the various media houses, maybe for awareness messages, we would ordinarily not expect for us to be ranked at the same commercial rates as the other media houses, but it is the other operations in the private sector. But unfortunately, I think it's an area that I still need to do a bit of work on so that we are at the same level. We are selling a public good. We are not making a profit out of it. And I think it's an area that I would appeal to the media. In terms of coverage itself, I think to the extent that we have been able to raise awareness, to the extent that we have had occasions and invited the media, the response has been very good. But I also look to a space where even when we have not called for something, even if there is no occasion, a space where the media should be able to highlight things that are happening at the various traffic lights, for example, and just say, this is what we're doing. and appealing on a day-to-day basis. Because as I always say, safety is not our only responsibility as Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe. Safety is everybody's business.
Right. Perhaps a follow-up to an earlier question that you responded to. You mentioned how it's important to not just look at the statistics, but also to look at what could be the other factors of importance when presenting the traffic safety discourse. Now, in various journalism institutions that we've got in the country, you find that there is specialized reporting, for example, health reporting, gender reporting, and it's specialized so that journalists are equipped and they become knowledgeable in terms of how to articulate these matters in the media. Now, do you not think that perhaps it's high time that we see an initiative taken by the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe to and see if curriculum with institutions can also have for reporting as a means of trying to address how the narrative is presented in the media?
I agree with you. And then I say, from where I sit, we need to do more to raise awareness on the need to talk about this issue. And I'll tell you, I have mentioned statistics about the number of the crashes, the injuries. I remember one and on the screen and kept messages are wrong. 5 people, that's too many. But in other words, they are still speaking and highlighting these things. And as we go towards the festive season, things are happening. One, the rainy season is upon us. And the chaos that happens in our particularly areas, when it's happening, it's very disturbing. Now, once through the light, the green or red color. Again, the media needs to come through and highlight these issues, because everyone drives, it's they are also a pedestrian. Whether you're in the setup or the rural, everybody needs to be safe on our road. So the media is one institution collectively that reaches the corner of Zimbabwe. And I think it needs to go every corner of Zimbabwe, because every Zimbabwean life matters.
Now, let's talk about some of the reckless behavior that we see on our roads. We speak of the high speeds that drivers have become accustomed to, the practice of being on a cell phone while driving, drinking, as well as driving. And a lot of these reckless tendencies that we're seeing on our roads, drivers who pass through a red traffic light. And for me, the highlight is the practice where you find some of these road or combi touters that hang at the back of our local combis. You see that across the face of the capital, Harare, and that tells you the picture of the state of the road users in Zimbabwe. What can be done to change this particular narrative that has now gone on rampage?
I think that's a big issue, but which I believe can be solved. Firstly, I want to thank our own minister. Just last week, we had the road safety in Ndava, which brought all the stakeholders, well, certainly most stakeholders in the road safety space. And one of the key issues that came out is enforcement, and even the nature and quality of enforcement. And one of the things that has come out is that we need to rely more on technology. Let's move on. Let policing move also towards technology, so that you don't have to be manning every traffic light. Let people just get tickets at home because you flouted, you went past a road traffic light, and so as we are seated now, there is work happening to amend the Traffic Safety Act and the Road Act itself, so that we give room and make a provision to make to legalize the use of electronic gadgets at our traffic lights, among other many things. And there's also the move to now complete the missing link in the Zimbabwe Integrated Transport Management System, which is an e-platform where most of the service providers, CVR, VID, are now linked, including the police and Zinara, so that if your car commits a traffic offense, it doesn't matter where you are. Even if it means you're passing through a toll gate, you should be able to be stopped there and account for what you did, because everything will now be on one platform. So e-policing is one of the initiatives that is coming through. Involvement of all stakeholders is also another. Then enforcement of current laws. You talk of use of cell phones. It is illegal to use a cell phone in Zimbabwe, but people seem to have forgotten it. And I think enforcement, it was acknowledged that needs to be, we need to see more of enforcement on our roads in that respect. You talk of people who hang outside the combis and are even celebrated as Chinamira, etc. It's illegal. It's there in the legal provisions now. So you will be seeing a stepping up of enforcement, like the current operation, let's term the traffic jungle together, phase 2. And again, people complain, but these are the realities. We have to do that to protect innocent bystanders.
Right now, time for us to take a quick breather. When we come back, we explore issues around the enforcement of these traffic laws that we've got in the country. Fourth Estate, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. The Fourth Estate, ZTN Prime, coming to you from Zimbabwe capital. We are discussing issues around road traffic safety ahead of the season. Now, from where we left before that Zimbabwe is fully equipped to deal with issues that are apparent in as safety roads are actually concerned. And on the stance, perhaps the police that we've got on our road tend to be corrupt in instances. How do you respond to that? You see the aspect of technology and the need to have these technologies applied dealing with errant users in Zimbabwe. How do you respond to that?
Thank you. I think, well, a number of issues. I think the first I want to respond is that when we talk safety, it's something very personal. I don't think a normal person to leave home and come home injured. So self-policing, to me, it should be the first thing in our heads. As soon as one gets behind the steering wheel, the first thing that you need is not to request for the police to be on the roads, but to be sober and say, I need to come back alive. That's number one. The second aspect, and I'm not absolving the police, by the way, but I'm saying it's up to us. Let's look inwards. The second thing, coming to the police themselves, obviously there is a lot more that could be done in terms of policing. If you look at the trend worldwide, it's more of the use of reliance of technology rather than human interface in any sector, including policing, because there are challenges generally accepted worldwide that relate to human interface. The more human interface you have, the more the chances that some people might find ways of getting around certain issues, leading to issues corruption related. But that having been said, I still believe that with the limited resources that they have, and when you look at the kind of response that we have seen, I think since around mid-September, when we have had Operation Let's Tame the Traffic Jungle together with the police. But this time, I think one of the key differences was that it's not just the police, but it's the whole of government approach. We have other stakeholders from VIDC, VR, ZIMRA, Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe, the local authorities themselves. Everybody has come in together. I think there has been some noticeable difference in terms of decongestion of our urban centers. But yes, the police, in my view, still need to be more and better resourced for them to be able to be on top of their game.
Right. Still on the subject of corruption, do you think that there are people out there that are acquiring licenses illegally? And another question as well is, are driving schools complicit to these corrupt activities? And also, could corruption be one of the reasons why road carnage is ever increasing in that particular regard?
The issue of corruption usually happens behind the scenes. But one cannot deny that there's been a lot of talk about issues that are untidy happening around our VID, various VID centers. But that is not to say every VID official is corrupt. That I would disagree with. I don't think that is the case. I don't even know if it is the majority. But one apple at times tends to spoil all of them. So yes, there have been a lot of talk. I think you remember there was even a demonstration about a month or so ago at VID Eastleigh here, allegations coming from driving schools. But what I can tell you is that after that, the minister called us, the Minister of Transport and Infrastructure Development, called the various stakeholders, the driving schools, the VID, and as we are talking now, I'm aware that the minister there is actually an investigation team that is moving around at every VID depot, interviewing people that may have been asked or solicited a bribe from. It is work that is happening here. And the minister is very clear that he will deal decisively with whatever comes out. I know they've done Harare. I know they are, at some point, I think they were in Hwange, and they are going around the country. We have seconded an official from Traffic Safety Council as well to be on that panel. So I believe that panel, and I appeal to Zimbabweans to come out openly and try to solve this problem, because the issue is, how does it happen? 80% of the test takes place within the wide view of everybody else in the VID premises. So why would then somebody panic about the 20% that happens on the roads? But you still get people complaining about such issues. So to that one, I would say it's a good question. Let's wait and see what happens when the Ministers' Committee has finalized its work.
Right. Now, according to the United Nations Road Safety Review of 2021, unlicensed or improperly qualified drivers average at least 25% of the crash deaths. Do you agree with the notion that most ZIM drivers have acquired licenses fraudulently, and are driving schools complying with the rules and regulations on training drivers?
I would not agree that most Zimbabweans are using fraudulent driving licenses. I think our driver's license is well respected, both inside the country and outside. I can tell you that just last week we had a team from Government of Zimbabwe, CVR, VID, that was in the UK. Just again, because these concerns had been raised. But after going through the paces and seeing how we do things, I can tell you that they were really impressed. And the other thing that has since happened is the introduction of the new driver licenses, in Zimbabwe. It has actually solved some issues that relate to nature and quality of driving license. And I also want to say, in the that people are writing their provision driver's license, we have now put cameras that we can watch and see whether there is cheating taking place. It's you use your computer, you write allegations. Perhaps some examiners assisting individuals. So we have responded the last month. We now have come in most of the questions. So we are trying to close the steps as of Zimbabwe and Safety Council. And we believe, because we are determined to preserve the high quality of the Zimbabwe's license.
Closely is the aspect of how the government has indicated to bring in speed limiting devices as well as monitoring devices, especially for public transport got on our roads. How much of an impact do you think these would be of an aid to the transport situation? Are we looking? Is there any indications yet as to we could see these measures kicking in?
Thank you. January 2024, measures start kicking. They were deferred to allow for people to adjust. Yes, the speed devices are through. I must say, almost % or so of the buses in Zimbabwe, if of buses, they already have some capacity for satellite tracking. So related to that is an amendment which we are now seeking on the statutory instrument, which currently talks of a speed limiting device. So that it's further improved to include also satellite tracking. And I can tell you that voluntarily, the Passenger Transporters Organization it has come together with ourselves and the ZRP, and we have set a tracking system that is functional as we are talking. And over 500 buses are now on that system. We are able to tell whether the bus in Victoria Falls or in Beitbridge, we are able to tell from Harare Central that this person is overspeeding, because all of them now have a satellite chip. But at this stage, it's still voluntary. Lessons learned is that we are now going to make it compulsory in terms of the SAID statutory
Just to jump in there as we wrap up, in just 1 minute, may you speak of perhaps other initiatives that we can look forward to, maybe that you're carrying out, that you feel are important to changing the narrative?
One, we are in terms of our awareness raising, we are now going to try to involve the wider public, the chiefs, the headmen, the local leadership in brief. So we'll be out there. Two, we are also saying that let's follow the adverts, the various communication that comes out in the media to encourage people. Just listen to those words that are being said. Three, I want to urge the media, all of them, to say the life you save may be yours. Talk about road safety.
Munesu Munodawafa, the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe Managing Director. Sir, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Well, that's a wrap on today's episode of The Fourth Estate. Do follow us on our social media handles at Zim Papers TV Network as well as at ZTN Prime. I'm Miben Mabunda, the Money Man. Let them do what they do. When we do what we do, we mean business. Thank you for watching and good evening.